What's up, motherfuckers? Agent Mad Hat here. Doing a video that I really hate to have to do. A couple days ago, we had the final Democratic debate before the Iowa caucuses, and man, it was hosted by CNN, so they came after Bernie pretty hard. It's very obvious that it was biased, but the bigger story that I want to focus on is the fact that because of the Elizabeth Warren campaign and because of CNN, what's happening is they're trying to get the progressive wing of the Democratic Party to destroy itself. They've started this feud between Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, and it goes back to probably Monday or Tuesday, maybe Friday of last week. I can't really exactly remember, but the first thing that happened to start this whole Bernie and Warren feuding against each other type of thing was that somebody leaked a story to CNN that was supposedly, I don't know if it was CNN, but somebody leaked a story that was supposedly a volunteer for the Bernie Sanders campaign saying that they received instructions on how to talk to people that were Elizabeth Warren supporters and tell them that her base is mostly white, affluent, non-diverse, etc., and that we need a candidate who can bring more people from the working class to build a strong base of support. Or I'm paraphrasing, but something along that lines. This was not ever verified to be something that came from the Bernie campaign itself. There was reports that it was just a random volunteer who posted this, and that post was quickly taken down afterwards. So we really don't know. But so then you have reporters asking Elizabeth Warren what she thinks, and she implies that Bernie's being divisive and says it's sad that he's out there trashing me. He was never out there trashing you, even if it was directly from the Bernie Sanders campaign. All they were doing was reporting the facts of what the polling data shows is your support base. So I don't see why that's so disheartening. I don't see, so there Elizabeth Warren is clearly escalating things. She's clearly implying that Bernie's trashing her. And then just 3 days ago, the day before and the day of the Democratic debates, two different things happened. Well, one different thing, but one thing, losing my train of thought. I think it was on the morning of the Democratic debate, maybe the day before that, the story broke. I can't exactly remember, but what it was that somebody leaked a story to CNN, and they wrote an article, and the name on CNN.com. The name of the article is CNN. Bernie Sanders told Elizabeth Warren in private 2018 meeting that a woman couldn't win, sources say. And let me just read you some of the article. The stakes were high when Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren met at Warren's apartment in Washington, D.C. one evening in December 2018. The longtime friends knew that they could soon be running against each other for president. The two agreed that if they ultimately faced each other as presidential candidates, they should remain civil and avoid attacking one another so as not to hurt the progressive movement. They also discussed how to best take on President Donald Trump, and Warren laid out two main reasons she believed she would be a strong candidate. She could make a robust argument about the economy and earn broad support from female voters. Sanders responded that he did not believe a woman could win. The description of the meeting is based on the accounts of 4 people. 2 people Warren spoke with directly soon after the encounter, and 2 people familiar with the meeting. After the publication of this story, Warren herself backed up this account of the meeting, saying in part, I thought a woman could win. He disagreed. That evening in 2018, Sanders expressed frustration at what he saw as a growing focus among Democrats on identity politics. So let's skip forward into the article. Sanders denied the characterization of the meeting in a statement to CNN. Quote, "It's ludicrous to believe that at the same meeting where Elizabeth Warren told me she was going to run for president, I would tell her that a woman couldn't win," Sanders said. "It's sad that 3 weeks before the Iowa caucus and a year after that private conversation, staff who weren't in the room are lying about what happened. What I did say that night was that Donald Trump is a sexist, a racist, and a liar who would weaponize whatever he could. Do I believe a woman can win in 2020? Of course. After all, Hillary Clinton beat Donald Trump by 3 million votes in 2016. So, there you have it. I think it has since been admitted that the Warren campaign were the people who leaked this story. This is absolute bullshit. Everyone knows it's bullshit. Everybody knows it's bullshit. I have not seen a single solitary soul on the internet. And the internet is argument central. I haven't seen a single person who believes Elizabeth Warren in this. And, this was a private meeting, and she's pretending. The rest of her statement, she was talking about Bernie being her ally, and that she doesn't want to discuss it in detail because Bernie Sanders is her friend and ally, and etc., etc. But you need to discuss it in detail, because if your campaign leaked this information to CNN, then that means your campaign is slimily and sleazily being sleazy and slimy and trying to take down Bernie Sanders because you're falling in the polls. This is fucking awful. I never thought that, I knew a lot of people would come after Bernie. I thought the nastiest attacks on Bernie would come from the mainstream media, maybe from people like Biden and Buttigieg, but I never ever expected Liz Warren to sink so low, and this is not even the end of it. That's just the story that was leaked. That night at the debate, of course, the CNN moderators, in an attempt to help make the two progressives in the Democratic primary eat each other alive, which is their focus. Let's be real, their focus and their intent on this. CNN and the mainstream media in general wants to put fuel to this fire and extend this feud as long as they can, because if they keep the two progressive candidates at each other's throats, then Joe Biden can just scamper away with the nomination while everybody's fucking distracted at this feud. So that's their theory. At the debates, Bernie was asked about this. He said, they asked the question at the debates, why did you tell Elizabeth Warren that you don't believe a woman can win? Bernie Sanders says, matter of fact, I did not say that. Anyone that knows me knows it's incomprehensible to think that I said that a woman can't be president. So you got to go by the evidence on this. Nobody else was in that room. This is he said, she said. Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders were the only two people in that room. So whatever the anonymous sources, the two people that she told directly soon, what the fuck does directly soon mean after that meeting? And two people who are familiar with the meeting. So it's basically you're playing a game of fucking telephone. She told me that he said, that he said, that she said, that he said, that he said, that she said. And this is news. This is on CNN. This is fucking being reported as news. But I digress. So at the debate, he denies it. And the moderator says, Bernie, to be fair, to be clear, you are saying that you never told Elizabeth Warren that a woman can't be president. That's correct, says Bernie. She turns to Elizabeth Warren. How did it feel when Bernie told you that? Wait a second. He just denied saying that, and then you go and ask Elizabeth Warren as if his denial means nothing, as if, oh, he's just denying it. He obviously said it, so I'm going to go and ask her, how did it feel when he said that to you? And then she did this whole statistic about the only two people in this states that have won every single election they've been in are the women. Nobody here has beaten a Republican incumbent in 30 years. Bernie says, yes, I have. In 1990, I did beat a Republican incumbent, and her and Bernie have this really awkward exchange. Excuse me. But the meat of the video that I really, and I've took a long fucking time laying this out, but the meat of the video that I really wanted to get to is that after the debate, Bernie and Warren have this really tense exchange. And at first, the very night after the debate, people were speculating because there was no audio. It's after the debate's over, Bernie goes over to Warren to shake her hand. She will refuse to shake his hand. They seem to be getting into a kind of a heated back and forth. Bernie walks off. Okay, so now CNN has released the audio of this, and I'll give you a breakdown of what they said. I'll play the audio. I'll play the audio in the background, and I'll narrate it for you guys. So let's start it here. This is from a video on CNN's YouTube. Audio reveals tense confrontation between Warren and Sanders. Here it is. Exclusive what Warren and Sanders said in tense moment after debate. Here it is.
Debate in Iowa last night, the simmering feud between Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders suddenly boiled over.
I think you called me a liar on national TV,
says Warren.
I think you called me a liar on national TV?
Let's not do it right now. You want to have that discussion, we'll have that discussion. You called me, like you told me. All right, let's not do it.
I don't want to get in the middle, I just want to say hi, Bernie.
Yeah, good. Okay.
So, I don't know if that's going to pick up well on the camera, but basically, what happened is he approaches Elizabeth Warren, and she says, I think you called me a liar on national TV. Sanders, what? I think you called me a liar on national TV. Sanders says, let's not do it right now. You want to have that discussion? We'll have that discussion. You called me a liar. You told me, and then he cuts off his sentence. Let's not do it right now. And then Tom Steyer, this is the greatest part of that whole audio, was Tom Steyer, who comes in like a kid in a candy store. He's like, I don't want to get in the middle of anything. I just wanted to say hi, Bernie. So he's sitting there waiting until they finish their argument to say hey to Bernie Sanders. It was the one thing that gave me a smile afterwards, But this is Elizabeth Warren. To me, this is the death nail in her campaign, because this is obviously a lie. Anyone who knows Bernie Sanders, anyone who knows what Bernie stands for, all evidence points to the contrary. If you think about this with an analytic mind, and if you think about this critically, it's impossible for you to believe that Sanders would have told Elizabeth Warren that a woman can't win. So there's videos on YouTube of him talking to little girls when he was the mayor of Vermont, talking to students, and specifically to little girls in a classroom, saying there aren't enough women in politics. You should run in politics. Of course, we've got women mayors, we've got women governors, but not enough of them. Again, there's another clip of him saying it doesn't matter whether you're black, white, or what the color of your skin is, whether you're a man or a woman. I think a woman can be elected president. It matters whose side you're on, if you're on the side of working class and poor people, or if you're on the side of the corporations. So that's video evidence to the contrary. Also, His voting record is pro-woman all the way. There's multiple clips of him, talking about women getting equal pay. There's multiple clips. There's zero evidence that he would say such a thing, and all of the available evidence that you could gather if this was a trial of what is likely to have happened, who is likely or telling the truth, all the evidence points to that Bernie Sanders is telling the truth, and that Elizabeth Warren either misunderstood something that he said to her in that private conversation, or she's a fucking liar. I don't know which, I can't say which, and I will not make a speculation as to which one it is. But I will say this is a nasty and sleazy, underhanded tactic by the Warren campaign to undercut Bernie Sanders. What they're trying to do is they're trying to appeal to this ultra-woke segment of the Democratic Party, and what they're trying to do is appeal to the SJWs, and they'll appeal to this fake wokeness, and it's completely outrageous, and it has done nothing but backfire. I've been following this for like 3 days straight. It's backfired. I haven't seen a single positive comment about Elizabeth Warren. I've seen almost zero support for her on the internet. I've looked around, I've looked at comments, I've looked at videos, I've looked at reporting. Everybody who follows politics, everybody who is even on the fence about Warren and Sanders, everybody who used to support Warren as their second choice, almost all of them are flipping now and saying, no, I can't support her anymore because she's a snake. She's a sleazy slime bucket snake who is throwing somebody that she claims is a friend and an ally under the bus to gain cheap political points, and it didn't even work. It didn't work. Congratulations, Liz. You fucking shot your own self in the foot. So thank you. Take yourself out. Scamper on out of this race because you're fucking done. Because this was a sleazy tactic. You expect it from establishment Democrats. You expect it from corporatists. You expect it from Republicans, but you don't expect it from somebody who claims to be Bernie Sanders' friend and ally. You don't expect it from somebody who claims to be a fellow progressive, somebody who claims to also be a progressive. I remember a time, I don't remember which debate it was, but I remember a time in the debates where it was Bernie and Liz Warren against the whole world, where they were 1-2 punching back and forth, fighting against everybody else that said we can't do Medicare for all, we can't do these progressive policies. They were both fighting back against it. And now Elizabeth Warren and her campaign wants to appeal to this SJW ultra-woke culture and do this sleazy, slimy, underhanded attack against Bernie Sanders, and it's obvious that you either misunderstood something he said or you're a fucking liar. A liar. And she comes to him after the debate, well, you called me a liar on national TV. And Bernie Sanders wants to do the mature thing. He's like, let's not discuss it right now. And then he starts to get heated, but he controls himself. He starts to get, he says, you called me a liar. You told me that. He stops himself. Let's do it another time. And then Tom Steyer again lifted my spirits a little bit. Oh, not getting to him in a little bit. I just want to say hi, Bernie. And Bernie's response, he's so frustrated. His response is so great. Okay, yeah, good. But anyway, Liz Warren has committed the most heinous, underhanded tactic against Bernie in the primary thus far, and I never thought I'd have to say it. Yeah, I always knew that Liz Warren had one foot in the establishment, one foot in the progressive camp, but I never thought she would go full on anti-Bernie the way that she has. This is a disgrace. It's a complete fucking disgrace. Elizabeth Warren, on the off chance that you watch my video, you have put a huge black stain on your legacy. Your legacy will be forever tarnished. Progressives are never going to trust you again. So she needs to come out and correct this. She needs to come out and say, hey, I might have misunderstood something. He said that this needs to be fixed by Elizabeth Warren. She needs to fix this, because otherwise this is a permanent scar on her legacy as a progressive. Progressives will never trust her again after this if she doesn't find some way to make this right. We all know that it's not true. Everyone who knows Bernie Sanders knows that this is incomprehensible. The way they're characterizing this is completely incomprehensible. Now, it may be that he made some sort of comment about how Donald Trump will be sexist and use the fact that she's a woman against her, and then said something that was taken the wrong way, that she told somebody and they like I said, the game of telephone, like Bernie Sanders said this, I interpret it this way, then I told my friend who interpreted it this way, who told his friend who interpreted it this way, who told his friend. That's what it is. It's gossip, it's sleazy, it's a slimy tactic, it's a dirty tactic, and there's no actual need for it. This is only what Donald Trump, the mainstream media, and the Democratic establishment wants. Those are the only three people that benefit from this. What the media and the establishment Democrats want you to do, you're giving them, Elizabeth Warren. They want the progressive wing of the party to eat itself up, and just like SJWs and ultra wokeness always has, it is destroying everything good about the left. This is what's wrong with extreme false wokeness, is that it destroys everything good about actual liberalism, about actual progressivism, because it makes progressive and liberal into this caricature of itself, this self-parody of people that say, if you're a woman, you automatically should be voted for over a man. If there's a man versus a woman and they have similar policies, then you're sexist if you vote for the man over the woman. This is the people who say that a child can't dress up like Moana for Halloween. This is the same people that say that talk about cultural appropriation completely out of context. This is the same people that get up in arms, and congratulations, liberals and left-wingers, you've won the culture. Here's a quote from the Bill Maher show. I can't find the clip anymore, but one of my favorite clips is where he says, we're winning the culture, but we're losing the country. We got this ultra wokeness, this ultra PC bullshit, and we're winning. We can get anyone fired from any show, anyone in showbiz, anybody in the arts and in the cultural arts and in Hollywood. We can get you fired. We can ruin your career if you say anything that even suggests you are sexist, racist, bigoted in some way, insensitive to any type of minority or religion or anything like that. You don't have to actually be racist. You don't have to actually be sexist. But if you do something and enough people can construe it as sexist or racist, etc., then you can get fired and your career can be ruined. But we can't get left-wing policies passed in Congress because the ultra woke does not give a fuck about policy. They care about decorum. They care about all these surface issues and identity politics. And Liz Warren has just put a huge stain on her legacy. Most of the people who said Bernie's my first choice, Warren's my second, they're going to say nope. Not Warren, never Warren, I will not vote for you. Thank you so much, Warren, because to claim to be progressive, and you claim to be Bernie's friend, with friends like you, who needs fucking enemies, you slimy fucking slime bucket. hope Warren campaign, Elizabeth Warren's campaign, I hope you guys are happy with yourselves. You have done damage to the progressive movement in general. You've done the establishment's bidding, and you can go fuck yourselves. Peace, motherfuckers.